Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Underrated Movies. I am your guy. I am your man, Mr. Alton Henry. And today I would like to talk to you of another film that I think is severely underrated that doesn't get talked about as much. Obviously, this movie was made years ago. Well, I'm here to tell you to bring it back into now that this film needs better recognition. Today I'm going to talk to you about the film. And, the show came out like a year or two ago. I don't know if this much is true, which I recommend that show for anybody who has HBO Max. I'm going to talk to you about The Place Beyond the Pines, starring Eva Mendes, Bradley Cooper, Ryan Gosling, and Ray Liotta, where the film is basically a epic arc of two characters, both fathers, trying to, well, it's an epic crime drama of two fathers and their actions, how their actions impact on their sons. And the movie is broken down into three acts. One, you focus on Ryan Gosling's character, who's played, I think his character's name is Luke Glass. He is a run of the mill, low criminal, also a motorcyclist who's trying to make ends meet by getting gigs as working for a carnival at the carnival, doing motorcycle tricks. And he discovers with his ex-girlfriend that he has a son, and this kind of kicks in of wanting to have the motivation to be a part of his child's life, to kind of fix things that he abandoned, basically trying to be the father that he wants to for his kid. And eventually, when he meets Bradley Cooper's character, who's also just turned to just a new father, things start to collide, and their actions eventually impact their sons years later. This film, which when I saw it, I saw bits at the theater when I was working at the theater, but then when I saw the whole film, I love this film. I think this is one of the most underrated crime films. This is actually one of my favorite crime films ever made. I love the storytelling to this. I love where the film was broken into basically three acts. You have Ryan Gosling's act, you have Bradley Cooper's act, and you focus on the character, their sons, years later. And man, what I have to say about this? This is a great film. This is a very experimental film, a very good drama. One, I think this is a different kind of drama. It's a very, I think it's a very epic on scale, with storytelling, um, where you basically witness these characters, their personal lives, and what their struggles, how they're related, how they're different, just how their personal lives are affected, and what their actions have taken a toll on their family members. Ryan Gosling's character, Luke Glass, he's not very, what I would say, he's not a very, well, he's not a smart guy. He's a very down on his luck kind of guy. He's trying to make ends meet by doing the thing that he loves to do, which is motorcycle bike, but he's just kind of unfulfilled with his life until he meets his ex-girlfriend again, who kind of gives him the, well, somewhat of the news that he is a father. And that kind of clicks for him, wondering whether or not, what he needs to do, and how should he change his life to better provide for his child. And he wants to be there for his kid. And Eva Mendes, who's really good in here, which I think she's underrated, she kind of gives him this little doubtful kind of like, attitude that you are not a good role model. How are you going to support your kid? I don't even think you're really man enough to really even do it. So that kind of puts that kind of like, I guess, motivation for Ryan Gosling's character to do something about it, where he does the unthinkable. He starts to rob banks, and by robbing banks, which is the quickest way to earn money, which I highly recommend not to do that, he starts to be friend with an ex bank robber, and they have a good friendship relationship that kind of goes along. And then the film focuses on Bradley Cooper's character, who's where his life is impacted by a Ryan Gosling character, and I won't spoil what happens. Where he's kind of a rookie on the job. He's trying to, I guess, move on from his encounter with Ryan Gosling's character, and with that encounter, it's so traumatizing to him that he is unable to really be that father figure for his son. He feels like he can't mentally be there, and he has a tough time to really connect with him, his family, while also dealing with other plot scenarios that is introduced later in the film, where he deals with police corruption. And then the film takes on a third act where you center on the two sons of Luke Glass and I think Bradley Cooper's character's name is Avery. Uh, you center on the sons, on then what they have to gone through from their father's actions and how they infected on her. It's actually a very riveting movie. It kind of like it's riveting how these characters meet. Just from watching the film and seeing the impact on it, where the story goes, you're invested in the story. The third act is a little bit weaker, but it's still a pretty good act. Like the performances in here were good. I actually thought Dane DeHaan, I thought he was related to Leonardo DiCaprio. I thought he looked almost just like him a little bit, but he was good. I actually see him, and the movie's 10 years old now. Like I could see him kind of being, well, I could see him getting more like he's a good actor. He's a good actor. Emroy Cohen, I believe that the actor's name, who plays the son of Avery. He's good in this as well. But I think, to be honest, I think this might be my favorite Bradley Cooper film. I feel like in the film, Bradley Cooper takes most of the spotlight in this, and because I think he gets the most screen time in this film, where he's kind of affected by Luke Glass's character, and when he tries to connect with his son years later, there's something happens later in the film that because of that encounter, he's so impacted and impacts his relationship with his family. He tries his best to be there, but it's still difficult for him to be there emotionally for his kid. And you see the struggle that he goes through, where all these characters go through, of really connecting. And it's a really, I think, also a tragic film. And I love how the film ends. It didn't feel cliche or anything. It kind of just ends the way where you feel like these characters are moving on from their situation. And the movie's really good. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was also very experimental. I thought it was very bold. I thought it was also very timeless. And I don't see a film like this getting made a lot. This is actually one of my favorite dramas ever to be made. And I don't watch much of Derek I think Carradine, or that filmmaker's name, but I think so far this is my favorite work of his. I think second will be his recent television series. I know this much is true, and I think that's really the only two works I've seen. This is really good. This is a really good drama. This is one, I guess, a film I would say that subverts your expectations of what you're gonna get based on what the trailer sells you. But when you watch it, it's completely different. I enjoy this film. I really loved it. I highly recommend it. It's one of those underrated gems in 2012 that I think kind of just flew under the radar, which should have gotten more attention. Check this film out if you have seen it, The Place Beyond the Pines. If you have seen it, what you thought about it, let me know. Would you share this film? Would you recommend this film to anybody? If you do, please do so. I think they're missing out on a great film. Check it out. Comment below. Let me know if you have seen the film. Follow my Instagram and let me know, what is your favorite underrated movie?